know?
Your money's on the desk over there.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
That was the wrong way to start off.
It really was. Shall we start again?
Please, you start.
Although the aim is for us to have sex, I'm not a prostitute. You don't have to pay me up front. I have nothing against prostitutes, but there's a difference. We can talk about that later.
I'm sorry.
The other thing is, there's a limit to the number of sessions we can have. Did Laura mention that when you saw her?
I'm sorry. I don't remember.
The limit is 6, but that gives us plenty of opportunity to explore. So, I understand you're able to have an erection.
Yes, but not by choice.
Do you know how many men there are who would give anything for a natural erection? Is this your place?
No, it's a friend's. The only bedroom furniture I have at my place is an iron lung. I've been wondering maybe about possibly buying a futon, you know, in case the need arose.
Might be worth thinking about.
I've got the space, I think. It can be expensive, though, a nice futon. I mean, how much do you think a good one would cost?
Mike,
Because
take a deep breath. And let go.
Do I seem anxious?
You do a little.
Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and this is Popcorn, and you have just seen a scene from The Sessions starring John Hawkes, and I don't even want to explain to you, if you haven't seen the movie yet, what that scene is about. So John Hawkes is here to tell us who you are playing in this movie.
I play Mark O'Brien.
You are a real guy.
That's correct. Mark was a polio survivor. He lived in an iron lung from the time he was 6 years old until he passed away in 1999 at the age of 49. Mark attended the University of California, Berkeley, and became a journalist and a poet. He wrote an article on disabled sex and began to wonder what were his possibilities as a human being. To that end, he sees a sex therapist who recommends a sex surrogate in the form of Helen Hunt. And that's where the movie really takes off.
Before I had seen it, and I had seen the documentary, Breathing Lessons, so I had some idea, but I thought, how will you make a feature about a subject like this without us just going, like that, but it isn't, it's buoyant.
I hope so. I think it's the best guy losing his virginity in an iron lung movie you'll see this year. I
at
don't
least
mean
this
to,
year.
I'm going to go out on a limb on that one. But it is. It's funny and entertaining, and I think surprisingly so. By description, a tough sell, but thanks for having me. We'll talk
There's
about
no
it.
such
We'll get to the
thing as
bottom
a
of it.
tough sell when there's quality involved in it.
I
But
hope so.
just playing, preparing to play Mark in this movie, what did you have to do to yourself?
Well, I had some great tools at my disposal. Mark, as I mentioned, was a writer. He'd also written an autobiography called How I Became a Human Being. Jessica Yu made an Academy Award-winning documentary short about Mark's life called Breathing Lessons. There were people who survived Mark who were kind enough to lend their aid to our film and their expertise. So again, I had a lot of things to choose from.
But even those that knew Mark never knew him in the specific way that Cheryl, that Helen Hunt character, is playing. Not a character, she's a real person, a real sex surrogate who was doing these 6 specific sessions with him. It's fascinating to me that that's it, because after that you get too personally involved, is that? Yeah.
Yes, we both do a bit, and it's I think both heartbreaking on some level, and also really a measure of health and love between the two of them, that they decide to kind of stop when they do.
I love Helen Hunt's character just saying to you, "Nice shirt."
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we've all had a first time if we're lucky enough, and I think that is one thing that makes Mark such a relatable character, of the amazing joy to have people come up after some of these pre-screenings and say, I related more to that horizontal guy you played than I have to any character I've seen in a movie in years. And that's a tribute to the writing and to the actors I was lucky enough to be surrounded by, and it just makes you feel you might have gotten it right, and that's a good feeling.
What do you do to your body? What do you have to to be in that position all
Yes.
the time where he can, below the neck, there's not a lot of movement going on.
Well, Mark's body, his spine was horribly curved.
Mm-hmm.
It's mentioned in the script a couple of times. As an actor, these are things you don't disregard. You figure, how can I do that? I conceived of and helped design a soccer ball-sized piece of firm foam, which the props department helped out, and then we duct taped this foam ball and put it midway into the left side of my back to approximate the heavy curve of Mark's spine. And I twisted my limbs in accordance with what I'd learned about Mark, and then tried to just be very still from the neck down. I wanted to make all of that second nature, his voice, his body, as much as possible, so I wouldn't be thinking about it while we were working,
Mm-hmm.
or judging it, so I could be present with the other actors. And in fact, in the best moments, I would forget I was a horizontal person and have the experience which I have in every role as an actor, which is figuring out what is the story, how can the character I'm playing help best tell that story, what does the character I'm playing want overall, and more specifically moment to moment in the scene. So again, I think it's a credit to the performers I was lucky enough to be around, that I would lose myself in the role, and I would just feel very much like a human being trying to solve a problem.
Playing those scenes with Helen Hunt, which are very intimate, and intimate scenes are hard anyway, but this is especially difficult because Helen is playing somebody who knows her way around this, and you, basically a 40-year-old virgin who is 2 years younger than that, are playing somebody that doesn't know anything about this. How comfortable were you and Helen doing this? Did you work out this before? Did you rehearse this?
We weren't comfortable at all, I don't think, and I think that honestly served us well. Ben Lewin gave us the wise and wonderful gift of shooting the intimate sessions in story order, chronologically. Helen and I had never met until we were cast. Knowing again that we had this scene that would involve us meeting for the first time and should be an awkward and unfamiliar thing, to my mind, it was wonderful that we didn't know each other, and rather than get to know each other really well and then pretend we didn't, it's easier than acting to have that sort of unfamiliarity. For Helen and I, in that first intimate scene, which was shot originally in one very long 7-minute take, and then certainly went in for coverage, and the movie's edited, but there's a lot going on in that first scene that's happening for the first time, in real time, and will never happen again. And again, that's something that you're always lucky to catch on film.
I think at one point you said, I play psychos, nerds, and psycho-nerds.
That's one edge of the spectrum.
Was that at one end of the
Certainly.
spectrum?